Sad news, former UFC fighter dies in a boxing match. Stay tuned. Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. And hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I gotta talk about this because I felt it was right just to spread the awareness, spread the word, and pay my respects. So I had to make the video. I'm following up to an Instagram post that I put on my Instagram, and it's regarding former UFC fighter Tim Hague, who just passed away. He was 34 years old, and he was in the UFC. He made a couple appearances in the UFC up to about 2011, and from that point, I guess he stopped working with the UFC. Some of you guys may remember him when he fought Todd Duffy. Todd Duffy was being billed as like the next big thing, like Sage Norcutt or Conor McGregor. He was 23, he was young, he was swole, white dude, and he had he recorded the fastest, I don't know if it's been beaten, it might have been beaten, but at the time, it was the fastest knockout in UFC history or something like that. It was like a 7-second knockout of Tim Hague. He went in there and then didn't want to touch gloves and bow, jumped on top of him, hammer fist or whatever, and then the match was ended. He had since lost multiple times and had like 10 knockouts, and I guess he was trying his hand at boxing. I don't know how long he had been doing boxing. I don't really know much about his background. I just, like I said, I seen the Todd Duffy fight and remember him from the UFC days. And apparently he was in a boxing match on Friday, and he got knocked out in bad fashion. The video's on YouTube, unless they pulled it, maybe flagged it after the horrific news. And he sustained injuries, immediately was hospitalized. They said he was in critical condition. I remember I was in Vegas, I just got back. Somebody sent me the headline saying that he was in the hospital and he was in critical condition. I was like, wow, that's crazy. And we were just going back and forth in the text. It was actually a girl that sent it to me. And I was just like, man, this is crazy. This was just when he was in critical condition. I was like, this fight game is no joke. And she was basically saying the same thing, like, yeah, this is crazy. They really risk everything. And on my way back, I got the information that he had actually passed away. He was only 34 years old, far too young to go. You know what I mean? And it's just sad. I want to read what I put on my Instagram and then just kind of give some more thoughts and overall just pay my respects to a fallen soldier and a warrior in combat sports. So I said, wow, UFC heavyweight fighter Tim Hague died after suffering a knockout loss in a boxing match on Friday. I want to send my condolences to his family and anyone affected by this tragedy. I tell you guys all the time, this fight game is brutal stuff. You got to pay respect to these dudes who glove up. This is serious business. It's easy for people to get on the internet with their regular 9-to-5 jobs and overly, keyword overly, criticize a fighter who risks their life every time they fight. Like, oh, Kell Brook quit, he's a bitch. But the truth is, you would have quit after round 5 if you even made it that far. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you, what I'm saying is, like, if you guys endured what these fighters endure, like Kell Brook's bite down lasted until the 11th. He was hurt before that, right? He was probably tired before that, but he got out of there. And I do think Kell Brook quit, but we don't know. We don't know how he felt and stuff like that. And some of you guys name calling and calling people out their names, and you know what I mean, female dogs and all that, and knowing you wouldn't last a couple of rounds with the guys your size, your weight, that, you know what I mean, that put you in those same positions. So I said, people say like, oh, he's a bitch, and you guys, a lot of you, I really feel like would have quit. So, you know what I mean, you got to chill, check that stuff at the door. I said, like I said, show respect so you don't have to pay respects when it's too late. Even the Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather fight, you got to give credit to Conor McGregor for the heart he's showing, stepping outside his own element in the octagon to participate in a 100% boxing match. Food for thought. Hashtag rest in peace, Tim Hague. So I meant every word of that, and I just kind of want to expand a little bit more. It's just, this is sad stuff. Like I said, this is I don't know, like I said, I don't know everything about Tim Hague. I'm not going to get on here and say I know his whole biography or anything like that, but from what I heard, He has a son. I don't know if he has multiple kids, but I heard he had at least a son. So he leaves them behind. His sister was the one, I believe, that broke the information. And before he actually passed, I guess the whole family was just around him bedside, knowing he was in bad shape and not, you know what I mean, might not pull through. And they were just listening to classic music, I guess, that he liked, like songs that he liked. That's fucked up, you know what I mean? Just to picture that, what his sister said, you know what I mean? But just bad news in the sport of boxing. So like I said, it's easy for us to get on the internet and just overly criticize these guys, what they would do, and I would have did that. It's easy for you to say that, you know what I mean? It's like, there's an old Richard Pryor joke. He was talking about the Holocaust, and he's like, man, brothers always try to say what they would do, or people try to always say what they would do. They'd be like, man, if I would have told them Nazis off, man. I would have told them Nazis off. And Richard Pryor was like, you wouldn't have done shit. You know what I mean? He says you would have went up to one of those Nazis in Germany, and they would be like, what is it? And he's like, oh, nothing, never mind. But that just reminds me of that little Richard Pryor bit where people always act big and bad. Oh, in the Holocaust, man, I would have took one of them Nazis' guns and hit him and shot my way. You wouldn't have did shit. Part of those times, like the Holocaust and stuff, you don't think other people tried that? You don't think other people had those thoughts? But they, you know what I mean? They were ruled by fear. You know what I'm saying? And people who probably did try got executed on the spot. Because I listened to, there's a Holocaust speaker. I've listened to multiple ones. I listened to one in college, and she was telling me about babies getting their heads blown off and stuff. And I'm not trying to make this video too graphic. I'm just saying, like, you don't know what you would do in those situations, especially when you haven't. That's like saying, man, if I was in Iraq and they tried to do, I would have did this, I would have threw the grenade back. It's easy for you to say that from the comfort of your own home. You know what I mean? Same thing with these fighters. So you got to pay respects. Now, Andre Ward stayed undefeated, and he actually paid me credit. He said, Ego's really good at this. He said, that's something he does. He gets behind these fighters, gets around them, and he humanizes us. And that's what, like I said, I'm not trying to make this into no ploy or, you know what I'm saying? You guys take it for what it's worth. But when it comes to me, Ego, Boxing Ego brand, I try to encapsulate all these different things because this fight game is brutal. And the fucked up thing about it is nobody's gonna be here for you when it's all said and done. You know what I mean? Other than your close constituents and your family and friends and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is a lot of these fans, like if you're brain dead, if you're a vegetable, if you die, you know what I mean? These people aren't paying your funeral expenses. Most of them, you know what I mean? If the family does a GoFundMe account, there's some people that will donate, but I'm just saying by and large, people who want this Roman gladiator shit and oh, that was a premature stoppage, he's a bitch, you know what I'm saying? A lot of those people that do all that, they're the first ones to tuck their tails when it gets real, you know what I mean? Or they're the first people to not donate when it comes to the fighters in critical, Daniel Twitch Franco or something. I've donated, you know what I'm saying? I donated to Daniel Twitch Franco, and I'm not saying that for bragging points, because I don't need to do that, because, you know what I mean, at the end of the day, the man upstairs knows what I do, and you don't have to reveal it. I'm just telling you. But a lot of people don't do those types of things, but yet they always speak on what fighters coulda, shoulda, woulda did and what they woulda did and all that. You guys gotta, you know what I mean, you gotta chill with that. So rest in peace to Tim Hague. Very unfortunate situation. I feel very sorry for his family. And like I said, when it's all said and done, people aren't gonna really bail you out or be there for you. And when you take several losses, you know what I mean, some corporations and stuff like the UFC, they might cut you. Like, you're losing too much. You're not really generating us money. You're not a mega star. You're not Conor McGregor. You're not, you know what I mean, Cody Garbrandt or whoever, Daniel Cormier. So you're out, you know, the contract's over, and now you're reduced to possibly fighting in boxing matches. And you know what I mean, even though that's not your main forte, maybe you're a wrestler, maybe your grappling game is on point. But in boxing, it takes a different skill set, and it's the heavyweight division. He's a heavyweight, so you already know the heavyweight division in any sport, you know what I mean, whether it's UFC or boxing, one punch can really easily change everything. And he got knocked down several times in this fight, and that's the problem that's why they went away from the 15 rounders in boxing, because science and medical testing showed that the head trauma was increased during longer durations. Like, let's say you took a substantial beating in the first 6 rounds, okay, then you keep getting pounded You know what I mean? Maybe you survive one round or whatever. But as the fight wears on, that's where it gets more critical. You know what I mean? The more like blunt force trauma you take beyond that point, because your brain starts to swell, veins bust, or whatever the situation is, and you know what I mean, you have brain bleeds and all that stuff. So like, you know what I mean, I don't profess to be a doctor, I just know a little bit about a little bit, and these situations are unfortunate. So I just want to break the news to you guys, let you know there is a UFC fighter who went into boxing similar to what Conor McGregor's doing, and he's only 34, and unfortunately he didn't make it. He got knocked out, and the crazy thing is, you never know, because he's been knocked out several times. He's been knocked out at least 10 times, and obviously nothing like this, nothing this grave happened until right now. So again, rest in peace to Tim Hague, and my condolences to his family. Let me know your thoughts, drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Until next video, is Ego signing off.